on Chronicle. Well, things are getting pretty colorful here at You're Fired here in Bedford. This is where you select your colors for your pieces of artwork.
I know. I don't know. Grape slush, Tahiti teal, lime Ricky.
Lime Ricky.
Also pool party.
It can get tricky, the pool party. I want like all of those kind of combined into one event.
Yeah.
These are, by the way, different colors. I don't know if you can tell that. Adjust your TV there. One of them Sammy Salmon and one's Peachy Keen.
I love the names.
Well, they do that so you remember the names.
It's true. You know, from art on pottery that we're going to create to the art in the pages of children's books, it is often the illustrator that has the power to bring a story to life.
Yeah, as many parents of young children know, pictures are what can draw a child to a book, and before that child learns to read, the pictures really tell the story.
Yeah, but what you may not know is that here in New Hampshire, in the city of Keene, you'll find one of the best collections of children's book illustrations in the country. When walking through Rhodes Hall on the campus of Keene State College, some often take a moment to stop and see the pictures. The walls of these halls are covered in original art from some of the world's best children's book illustrators.
I sometimes think about what would this building look like if the walls were blank.
It's thanks to Dr. David White that they're awash in colorful characters. In 1978, the education professor started the Keene State College Children's Literature Festival. And after getting to know so many leading illustrators through the years, he began acquiring art in 1990 for the festival gallery collection. Today, the work of more than 200 artists hangs here. Arnold Lobel, author, illustrator of the Frog and Toad books, created a festival logo one year.
There was a story called Spring where he was holding a spring calendar saying, "Wake up." Well, what Arnold did is he put October because that's when we have our festival each year, and then he put a Keene pennant in the background.
Do you ever say, why a frog and a toad?
He would often talk to himself. So he represented that by having a frog and a toad that are very similar but slightly different. So he said Frog and Toad is actually Arnold Lobel talking to Arnold Lobel.
These sketches were torn out of books autographed by Maurice Sendak.
He spoke here twice, and he drew things in his books. Luckily, I had 2 copies of each book. Someone said, "David, I can't believe you cut things out of a book." But I said, but that's the only way we'd ever have an original something by Maurice Sendak, so I'm delighted that we have those.
On one visit, the Where the Wild Things Are author-illustrator told Dr. White that his relatives inspired his wild imagination.
When they came in the door and I looked up at them, they all seemed to have enormous heads and bloodshot eyes and moles with hairs growing out of them. And they'd reach down and pinch us on the cheeks and say, "I could just eat you up, I love you so." So he said, if you really want to know what the wild things are, they're visiting Jewish relatives.
The art here was purchased, the other half was donated. Today the gallery gained another piece from the book How Big Were Dinosaurs by author-illustrator Lita Judge of Peterborough.
I know when I was 5 and 6 I was so fascinated with dinosaurs. My mom always teased me that I never outgrew it because I went on to study dinosaurs in college and work on dinosaur digs, and now this is my 3rd dinosaur book. But my purpose in doing this book was to show kids how big dinosaurs were.
What sets Keene State College's collection apart is that in many cases, the initial storyboards and sketches accompany the finished work.
So I think it's really important for artists to share their process. There's so few opportunities for the public to see that, and that's why this collection means so much to me and everybody who's donated pieces.
23 Caldecott winners are represented here. A number of them hail from New Hampshire, like Beth Cromus.
Beth lives in Peterborough, New Hampshire. This is from her book, The Lamp, the Ice, and the Boat Called Fish.
Another, the late Trina Shart Hyman of Lyme, turned friends into characters in her books.
I showed up in a couple of her books, but she just based it on people she knew well enough. Others that you will see in the gallery use photographs, and then from those photographs, they do the illustrations.
While many artists use models, New Boston's Marty Kelly used himself for this illustration, which he admits in the caption below.
I'm sad to say that I was the model for this one. I'm glad to say that as a 37-year-old guy, I don't look anything like her yet.
One whole wing of the gallery is filled with owls, Keene State's mascot.
Here's Eric Carl with his tissue paper collage.
The artists who created and donated these pieces did so to support the collection. Many of the birds have appeared on posters that are sold to help fund new additions to the gallery and the security frames that protect them.
They're so awesome.
Yeah, they're so different. I loved getting mail because I never knew what I would be getting each day.
Because of the collection's fine reputation, artists are eager to have their creations grace these campus halls.
You must be so honored to have your pieces here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my heroes are hanging on these walls. It's been a wonderful thing to come up into the children's book world, and you know, you're hanging next to people that I read when I was a little girl, and also hanging next to colleagues that I admire and respect. So it's a wonderful feeling to be a part of it.
Most children's books end on a positive note. I love the art, I like the creativity, the new way of thinking. I get intrigued by how do authors come up with the ideas for their stories, and why do illustrators approach the illustrations the way they do.
Dr. White gives guided tours of the Festival Gallery collection, which continues to amaze those strolling by.
What are you struck by when you look at all that you've been able to amass here?
I guess I can't help but be a little proud that I was able to do this and bring this to Keene State College. It will be my legacy.